Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of Strange Meeting, a poem by Wilfred Owen. Wilfred Owen is famous for being the first greatest World War poet. And this poem, Strange Meeting, was written in 1918. And he took this title from Shelley's The Revolt of Islam. In The Revolt of Islam, we find a soldier escaping from a battle, and he escapes from there only to go and land in hell, and who welcomes him there is the enemy whom he had killed in the battle. That enemy only welcomes him, and Strange Meeting, the title is taken only from that The Revolt of Islam. And here one speaker, he starts speaking with us. He is a soldier who has escaped from the battlefield and now is entering into a deep dark tunnel. And this tunnel was cut in the previous wars, because there were so many wars which were taking place, and long ago this tunnel should have been cut through the granite bedrock. And escaping from the battlefield itself makes him feel so relieved, because he was so afraid of the horrors of the war, the horror which was happening there in the battlefield. And even in the dark tunnel before him, there were many people who are either sleeping or they were groaning in pain. And the speaker says that those who were sleeping were too deeply asleep that they cannot be aroused. That is, maybe they were dead. However, as he was passing by, one of the person jumped up and he stared at the speaker. The person stared at the speaker, and his reaction was as though he could recognize him, and at the same time his looks made him feel that he was actually pitying him. Not only that, soldier lifted his hand sadly, and he wished to bless the speaker. And he was also smiling at the speaker, but as the speaker says, the smile was not a smile of happiness, but it was rather a dead smile. And his smile helps the speaker identify the place as hell. Then the speaker feels that horrors and traumas are all engraved in the vision's face, that is, in that man's face. And also there was no blood reaching there inside the tunnel from the battlefield on the upper ground. And he could not even hear the gunfire or the eric noises of the war in the tunnel. The silence in the tunnel was in contrast to the typical cacophony of the battleground outside. Now, the speaker addresses the other soldier as strange friend and assures him that there is no need to mourn because of his death on the battlefield. But the strange friend tells him that he mourns for the lost years of his life, because he is very young and now he has lost all the hope, because he has lost his life at a very young age. Before the war, he was restlessly searching for the wildest beauty in the world. This wildest beauty which he looked for doesn't lie in beautiful eyes or the neatly braided hair of a woman. It doesn't care for routine things. But even then, going in search of that wildest beauty itself made him feel happy. And he also says that he is not the only person who is missing his lost years, but before he could die, he had made all the people around him happy. Now all those people also will miss him. And out of his sadness, he says that he will be lost now in his death. And why he is so worried is there is something which he has not told. And what he had not told is the truth which was not told. And what was the truth is, he wanted to share it before his death, was the pity of war. The sorrow, the compassion, and the regret for all the destruction, horror, and disappointment that war caused was the truth that he wanted to share with people. And he says, why I am feeling bad that I did not share this is, why I wanted to tell this truth is, only then people will stop continuing to glorify war. They will not be happy with the way they soldiers fought, and they will not celebrate the destructive things that army has done. At the same time, he says he missed telling people how useless war is, because of war they will remain aggressive and full of energy, and they will continue to keep on fighting with the swiftness of a tigress. and nobody will speak against their leaders or disagree with the governments. And even if they are going to be fighting the wars, the nations themselves will not progress. It is actually a backwardness for the nations itself, but in spite of that, they go for wars. And now he talks about how he has the ability to talk against the war because he has the required courage, wisdom, and expertise, and he also knew the sad reality of war. So he can definitely speak against the war. And he thinks that the whole world is marching backwards due to war because the civilization itself is declining due to these wars. And he believes that the war ridden world is definitely going to become a useless place and it will not be protected. And he says that in future there will be too much war and too much blood and deaths. And when the metaphorical chariot wheels of war machine would be clogged with blood, he would come forward to wash and purify these wheels with water from the sweet wells. And even with truths which are so true that they are so powerful that they cannot be tainted or distorted. That is, no one can talk against him. And if only he had been alive, he would not tolerate so much bloodshed and killing of fellow citizens in war. He will go and protest against it, and he will tell the people the truth of war. He will tell them that war is not heroism, glory, or victory. War is only violence, destruction, and loss. War will never bring anything good. And he also asserts that he would have spent the remaining of his life in the fullest efforts to make people realize the truth of war. But he would not do that through violence and destruction or at the expense of war. He will not choose the expensive and filthy path of war for spreading the truth regarding this war. And he says it is not only the soldiers who are physically injured in the war are suffering, even the common people who don't directly involve or participate in the war, they also suffer because they suffer mental agony and trauma, because they see bloodshed and generally lose their near and dear ones. And therefore their foreheads and hearts also bleed without visible wounds. And this mental anguish does not cure easily because the soldier himself is still suffering from the same pain. And therefore he says that now he is dead, he cannot do anything, and therefore he feels regretful and sad. Then the strange friend, he reveals his identity. He says that he is the enemy soldier whom our speaker had killed the previous day. And now the speaker could recognize him the moment he sees, because he had the same frown the previous day when he had killed him in the battle by jabbing him with his bayonet. And the irony is that both the soldiers did not have any enmity between them. They were only forced to act like enemies in the battlefield. And the soldier continues that he tried to defend himself while he was being killed in the war. But his hands were so unwilling and so clumsy, and that may be due to the tiredness and fatigue of fighting for a long time, that he could not protect himself and therefore he was killed. And now he suggests that they should sleep and they do not have anything to do much as they are already dead and have reached the hell. And therefore they should take rest as both of them are tired both physically and mentally because of the devastation of the war. And here ends the poem. Come, let's read the poem. It seemed that out of battle I escaped, down some profound dull tunnel, long since scooped through granites, which Titanic wars had groined. So he says, now I have escaped from the battlefield and now I am in a dull tunnel. And this tunnel should have been built long back during some war. Yet also they encumbered sleepers groaned. But even before I could go, I saw many people sleeping there and groaning there, too fast in thought or death to be disturbed. Then as I probed them, one sprang up and stared with piteous recognition in fixed eyes. Now these people are those who were sleeping. It was as though I could not wake them at all. Maybe it is because they are dead. And as I passed them, one person sat up and he looked at me, and there was pity in his eyes which were fixed on me. Lifting distressful hands as if to bless, and he lifted his hand as though he was blessing him. And by his smile I knew that sullen hall, by his dead smile I knew we stood in hell. And from his smile, I understood, because that smile was a dead smile, that we were in hell. With 1,000 fears, that vision's face was grained, yet no blood reached there from the upper ground, and no guns thumped or down the flues made moan. And here his face was filled with lot of fears, which generally happens during the war. And there was no blood which reached from the upper ground. At the same time, we could not hear the guns sound here down. Strange friend, I said, here is no cause to mourn. And then he looked at that friend and he said, strange friend, don't mourn. We don't have any reason to mourn here. None, said the other, save the undone years, the hopelessness. Whatever hope is yours was my life also. And the other soldier replied, no, I don't have anything to mourn, except the years which I did not live, and the hopelessness, because I had so much hope. Now they all have become hopeless. And my hopes were the same as yours. You also would have had many hopes. Same hope even I have. I went hunting wild after the wildest beauty in the world, which lies not calm in eyes or braided hair. He says, in my life I was hunting for the wildest beauty in the world. And don't think it is the beauty. No, it is not the beauty of the calmness in the eye or the braided hair of a woman, but marks a steady running of the heart, and if it grieves, grieves here richer than here. For by my glee might many men have laughed, and of my weeping something had been left, which must die now. I was just looking after the wildest beauty in the world, and I was very happy. But now I have to think about the many men who laughed, who were happy because of me. All that I have left because I had to die. I mean the truth untold. I am very sad because there is a truth in me which I have not told. The pity of war, the pity war distilled, and the truth is about the pity of war. Now men will go content with what we spoiled. But since I have not told the truth, the men will go on into getting into the wars, because we have already spoiled them. We have made them get trained to facing wars. Or discontent, boil bloody and be spilled. They will be swift with swiftness of the tigress, and they will fight because they think that fighting in a war is glory. So they will fight like a tigress in the war. None will break ranks though nations trek from progress. No one will be able to talk with their superiors. They will only obey their superiors, and even the nations which are involved in the war will never progress. Courage was mine and I had mystery. Wisdom was mine and I had mastery. But I had the courage because I knew the mystery of the war. I was wise enough to miss the march of this retreating world into vain citadels that are not walled. So I would have told them, this will not save, this will not protect the citadels, that is all the fortress. Definitely war will only cause destruction. Then when much blood had clogged their chariot wheels, I would go up and wash them from sweet wells, even with truths that lie too deep for time. Then, because of the war, if their chariot wheels are clogged, that is, if many people are killed, I will go and wash them. And I'll bring water from the sweet wells and tell the truth which they cannot protest. I would have poured my spirit without stint, but not through wounds, not on the cess of war. Foreheads of men have bled where no wounds were. I would have told them about all these things. I would have not fought with them because I am against war. I would have told them about the destruction that a war causes. And I would have told them that even people who do not bleed, that is, who do not come to the battlefield and fight, they also bleed. They also are hurt because their near and dear ones would have died in the war. I am the enemy you killed, my friend. Now he tells him, see, I am the enemy whom you killed in the battlefield. I knew you in this dark, for you so you frowned yesterday through me as you jabbed and killed me. When you entered itself in this darkness also, I recognized you, because you were the one who jabbed and you killed me. I parried, but my hands were loath and cold. I tried to stop, but my hands were tired and they were so cold. Let us sleep now. So he says, come, let's sleep now. Now here ends the poem. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share it with your friends. And if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.